If you listen to Rock of Ages during the guitar solo, you can hear someone talking very faintly in the background. And it's like, you can hear that.
Weird.
But it's a backwards message. And you know what it says?
Fuck, sorry.
Oh. Wow. Thank you for your consideration.
I don't want it to get you over there. What am I talking about? You've already had it.
So, what kind of a mask is that?
That is a 3M.
Like those N95. You're going to keep that in your head?
N95. This should be my new look. Should be my new look.
Very
no?
dark.
All right, sorry. I just thought it'd be funny to start off with that. You know what I tried to do for the Guns N' Roses episode?
What?
Karina went out to the dollar store and I said, can you get a red bandana and a blonde wig? Because I wanted to start it off wearing a red bandana with a blonde wig and look
that
like
would have
Axl.
been funny. And?
I know. Nothing. Well, did it happen? Let's look back. Flashback. No, it didn't happen.
That's a shame. That would have been cool.
I know. Would have been funny. Alas. No, you would have lost your mind. You would have. I would have turned the camera on. You would have saw it. You would have just.
You know,
you probably would have.
You're right. Yeah. I would have laughed. That would have been funny.
Would have laughed and you would have called me a ding dong.
Well, if the shoe fits, my friend,
I'll own up to it.
Gotta wear it.
I'll own up to it.
So you're wearing COVID right now.
That's right.
You tested positive today. See, this same thing happened between you and I. So I tested positive on taping day too, right? Like on Thursday at 2.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I had it the day before, but then I went ahead with it and tested positive, and I was like, oh shit. So you did the same thing.
I did do the same thing, and it's because I traveled to New Brunswick for work, and got it out there.
Really?
Brought it on home.
One of the old East Coasters gave it to you.
Dang. It's the hockey kids, the hockey kids. They don't care. It's out there for the Memorial Cup. It's all the hockey kids. They don't care.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, so we're just kind of waiting to see who gets it next. Hopefully the kids won't, because they've been fighting off some other colds recently. So I'm hoping that maybe they didn't test positive, but they've been fighting something and fighting that in some way. So anyways, not much you can do now except face it. But it's scary. We spent the last 2.5 years dodging this thing and doing everything we can to stay safe and not get it. And one wrong move.
Well, you know what? It's running its course, right? It's difficult because as you said, it's been out there for 2 years. It's hard to outrun. Yeah. And you'll get it. The good news is it's not nearly as deadly as it was before. You'll get it. It'll pass through, and you'll be good.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can hope, or maybe I'll be dead tomorrow. So we're here to talk about Pyromania before that happens. Although, if I'm dead tomorrow, nobody's edited this episode, so better get looking for a new partner.
Send the file over before we.
Yeah, you got it, boss. Hold on.
What do you think of this record?
Pyromania. It's very 80s.
Okay.
And it's very 80s. That's my big takeaway.
So you don't like it? You don't like it?
It's not that. It took some time to get into. I know I said that a few times about some albums. It's fun. Like, I think the crazy thing is, like, top to bottom with this album is, like, I didn't know all these songs. I knew Photograph, I knew Rock of Ages, and
Foolin'.
Rock. No, I didn't know Foolin'. So it was good to hear some of these other tunes, and they were fun. And it's pretty insane that they were able to do this through this whole album. It just all felt very 80s to me.
Yeah, and this is 83. Like, this is January 1983.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about this record, it was Def Leppard's third one, and the first two were very AC/DC. This record made Def Leppard an AC/DC that was okay for girls to listen to.
Oh, okay. That's fair. I get that.
Well, I mean, it's a perfect melding of hard rock and pop.
Yes.
Like, it really is, right?
Yeah.
It's not, and you know, that experiment's been conducted before, and it's not a successful one by and large. But this time it worked. Like, the riffs are still bludgeoning. Those power chords are like, you know, it's the production. It's Mutt Lange.
Yeah, it does sound fantastic. It's vocalist Joe Elliott definitely gives me more Brian Johnson vibes still on this album, but musically, yeah, actually to the point where I was like even a little too much for me sometimes throughout this album.
Really?
I know. I just was not
like when give me. Do you have an example in your mind?
Stage Fright, I think, is one where it's a little grating.
Okay. Yeah, wow. I mean, so let's talk about this for a second. So let's go back and think about Axl Rose, Brian Johnson. I get. Who else? Joe Elliott. But you have a difficult time with the screamers, don't you? I guess so. Kind of. Yeah. I mean, I think I've been pretty consistent with how I felt about it, because Axl I wasn't a big fan of. Was it Dan McCafferty of Nazareth? Wasn't too that's
bad.
A good point, because I anticipated that you were going to have a tough time with him, but you actually enjoyed him.
I did. I thought it was fitting for a lot of the tunes. So yeah, some of these were just a little much for my ears, which is weird. It's got to be the combination, you know. It's got to be the combination of music to vocals that is what ends up bugging me or standing out to me as something that is not feel comfortable to my ears.
That's kind of funny, because I think this is a perfect match, you know. And it's funny because it's like this. You'd think that, you know, for this style of kind of pop and hard rock, that there would be more of maybe an operatic or like a more refined singer, we'll say. But I feel like Joe Elliott really is a perfect kind of candidate for, like, you know, to be Def Leppard's singer.
You know, but I ended up feeling that way near the end with Coming Under Fire and Action Not Words. Like, I started to feel a little bit better around those tunes. Foolin' is cool as well. So
yeah, Foolin's great.
Yeah.
Oh,
great. Okay, here we go. Okay, talk to me again. Let's get into the Brent's brain about when did you hear this record? What does it mean to you first? Let's get through that.
Oh God, I heard this. See, you're gonna laugh. I heard this when I was probably 12 or 13. And right around that time, there was a lot of disco, and music was very synth based. And this came out, and it kind of just it jolted the scene a little bit. Like, it kind of shook things up. Not just because it was hard rock, but because it was hard rock and pop. So it was the blend, right? Because there were those hard kind of power chords, AC/DC style. But then there was like this pop sensibility. Like, there were these nice harmonies and layered vocals and hooks that you were like photograph. It's like, wow.
I could see this as a 12-year-old being just totally enamored with an album like this.
I like lost my mind. And like Foolin', right? Like, dude, like the guitar on one hand, and the leads were amazing. But then the synth kind of in the background. And like I said, like, bands would try this, but they would fail. It didn't really work out. It was very kind of plasticky, and it didn't have substance. But this record had substance. It leans more hard rock than it does synth, and I think that's why it worked. But yeah, as a kid, played and played and played. And you know what I did? I had a boom box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I walked around town with it.
Did you really?
Playing.
Actually?
Yeah. Yeah, that was like a Def Leppard kind of advertisement.
I love that. So you had the tape, you had the cassette, easy guns.
I did. Do
you have the cassette there? You want to show
it? Oh. I don't think I held it like this, but I walked around with it like a huge boombox.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have the cassette still?
I have the cassette over there. Yeah.
Why do you come empty-handed when you know these things are going to come up? I love it.
Oh, I have a surprise for you. I'm not empty-handed. Look at this. See this?
Oh my goodness.
So this is...
Oh my God. Peter Criss.
No. Look, do you know what it is?
It's a... What is that, a backstage pass?
Yeah. It's a laminate.
You, eh?
So what you do with these, I got 2 of them. Phil Collin set these aside for me when Kiss and Def Leppard played here in 2012.
Look at you.
It was fantastic. So, but I have a story about these that's kind of funny.
Hit me.
So it's not, well, the joke is it's not PC. It's, I'm gonna give the warning here that this is kind of an unsavory story.
Okay.
So back around, well, let's say late 80s, Def Leppard had 2 laminates. They had one for friends and family that looked like this, and they had one for other types of guests.
Yeah.
And on the friends and family laminate, it said Def Leppard. On the special guests laminate, it said DIKLIKKER in that font. So unless you looked at it really closely, you didn't know the difference. Depending on which laminate you had, you either went this way backstage or you went that way backstage.
Which way did you go?
Fact.
Yeah, good. Attaboy. Good. PC, Phil Collin. Nice. Love it.
Look closely.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's Phil. He's one of the nicest guys in rock. Phil is. Yeah.
Well, and he was the last guy to join the band of the current lineup, was he not?
He joined right before this record came out.
Yeah.
He was it depends, right? He joined right before this record came out, and he replaced, what's his name? Pete Willis. Pete Willis is his name.
Pete had a drinking problem.
He did, and he was ejected from the band for it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So the backing tracks, the bed tracks were already done. Steve and Pete had written those, and Phil just came in and played lead and joined he was in a band called Girl previously with Phil Lewis from LA Guns, by the way.
Okay.
And then he knocked it out of the park. He was great.
That's cool.
Fantastic player, even better guy.
Good opportunity, good album to come in on. Good band to join at the time.
Right? Can you imagine?
Great producer to be working with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's coming in and just being thrown to the wolves, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what, though? Def Leppard, yes and no, because they had 2 records out there already, right? On Through the Night and High and Dry. And they were respected. They had not hit the big time yet. But at the same time, they were known. And they had a following. So they had 2 records. They were carrying debt of $3 million because the records didn't sell the way that they thought the records were going to sell. So they had to make how did it go? They had to sell 3 million records. That's what it was. They had to sell 3 million records to get out of debt. That's what it was with the record company.
Wow.
And they sold 10. So it worked out for them.
Yeah, that did work out. And which record company was that? Phonogram, when they were with them, when they had did they owe them money? Yeah. And then there was Mercury here.
Correct.
In the US. Yeah, he was checking some of that out, and Cliff Bernstein and Peter Mensch.
Yeah. Peter Mensch appears in one of the videos as a monk in Rock of Ages.
Oh yeah.
There's
they
monks
went out
in that video, and he's one of them.
Kind of poached them from the current management. They basically heard the record, and Bernstein was like, "Do anything you can to bring them back. Mm-hmm. We need them. We got to put these albums out." Yeah.
Those guys made so much money, those two. They managed Metallica for a very long time too.
What a bum Bernstein looks like, eh? It's like this guy
They're
just needs a haircut. Yeah.
Yeah. Got a beard.
Rock till you drop.
Excellent kickoff.
Killer.
I think. People say this sounds like AC/DC. I don't really hear it. Do you?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The song used to be called Medicine Man.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Or it was supposed to be called that, right?
Or I think they took most of this song from a song called Medicine Man and kind of rewrote it. You know what I love about the song, and I think back to those days when I was walking around with that boombox. It starts like ba-ba, like dramatic, right? They don't write songs like that anymore. Here's my fist coming. I don't write songs like that anymore. But like they used to like start songs like that, like ba ba and then ba, and like the big chords, and you're like literally as a listener, you're like waiting to see what's next, and then
totally.
you knew that, and then they did that little. They would lead you,
yes,
right? Like do 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 do, and it's almost like they're kind of pulling you in,
yes,
with this riff, and then it builds up, bang, and then the song starts. So there's a lot of drama involved.
That's what I wondered with this. Like, how do you get inspired to write music like this? I know you get inspired by other musicians, but to be able to put music together like this, and to like what you said there, let's start with this, and then we'll have a little interlude, and then we'll get into the song, and it just you look at them from back in the day writing this stuff, like you guys don't look like you would be writing music like this.
What was the average age in that band? I think it was 22 at this time. Drummer Rick Allen was like 16 or 15 or something. Like he was super, super young. So they were all very, very young. And, some people would say quite inexperienced. And that's why Mutt kind of, was brought in. And I think that he did them quite a good service by, producing the album that he did. But yeah, I mean, like history favors this record.
Yeah.
Right. Like it really does. When it came out, Joe Elliott said, yeah, like I knew it had potential, and I knew it was I mean, it's easy for him to say after the fact, of course, but he said, I knew it was great. But to their credit, they were kids. Like they were 21, 22. And you can hear it in the lyrics. I mean, the lyrics are like kind of like street corner, like macho,
Yeah, but they had the confidence, right?
Nonsense.
Like that was what they said when they first came out playing live, was you didn't know who this band was, but they had this like ridiculous confidence about themselves. Yeah. And I mean, when you hear their older stuff, it is, again, how did you learn to play that, think to play that at that age? It's just, yeah. Again, it's that musical sort of that innate greatness I was talking about a couple episodes before in these bands and these artists that are able to come through in their music.
Well, when we did the Queen episode, I was talking about Queen showing up in bands later on. And one of the bands I named was Def Leppard.
Yeah.
And I think that what these bands did was they listened to, and I know that Elliott did this in particular, Bowie, T-Rex, Queen, Sweet. Like those were 4 bands that he idolized. And you just kind of take, what you glean from them and think like, okay, like this is what I'm going to put out. And you're almost a channel, like it just goes through you, if you really feel it. And I think all these guys really felt it.
Photograph is a big tune that hit me at a younger age too. I love this song when I heard it, and it's still great. It's
the ballast of this record, really, right? Like it was such a huge hit. And again, like you think about, I was saying earlier about the perfect melding of hard rock and pop, and this really is like, it's emblematic of the power of this record in that sense. Yeah, truly is. Yeah. And again, like well written, well crafted.
Yeah.
100%. It's just like insanely catchy.
I know.
And I was thinking about this the other day about this record. This appeals to so many people, or did. I mean, when it came out, pop kids loved it. Metal kids loved it. Hard rockers loved it. Like, so many people loved this album.
Yeah. A lot of people, you're right. A lot of the girls were like, you know, oh yeah, that's, you know, the music's attractive, but they're attractive. And then the guys are like, you know, yeah, they're great musicians and they write great music. And then the kids are like, you know, they look like they do drugs, they're drug dealers, but they're not. And like, you know, it's like, it's got all these different, like you said, ages and perspectives from everybody.
Yeah. Well, MTV, it didn't hurt that MTV was just kind of coming into, you know, being at this time in 83. And they're all good looking dudes. Def Leppard were, right? And so, like, they weren't, you know, AC/DC were not, you know, AC/DC were not poster boys like Def Leppard were. And so the genius was that they had the AC/DC grit, but they had that kind of almost a boy band sensibility, right? Stage fright.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay. That's where the vocals, when I said feel a little like too gritty for me in this one.
There's some high notes in there for Joe.
Yeah.
But Photograph too, and thinking back to Photograph, he had this little trick that Bon Jovi used too. He would make the crowd sing the choruses.
Oh. So
when the chorus came, he would put the Bon Jovi move, right? Like Living on a Prayer. He would like, whoa, halfway there, right? Joe Elliott did that too. He would make the crowd sing Photograph because it was so, the chorus was so high.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, the stage fright was the same. I mean, these guys though, you know, I think about that often when I listen to these old records. They were 21.
Yep.
And they could sing, you know, the lights out.
Ridiculous.
Right? But now when they're in their 60s, 40 years later, a lot of them are, because it's, you know, it's been 40 years almost since this record came out.
Yeah.
They're reaching for those notes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's gotta be tough.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gotta be, totally. You know, 100%. No, and I can imagine if they were to do Stage Fright, that might be a bit tough. I mean, it's got a nice chorus. It's got a nice soaring chorus, but it's like it is his gritty vocals on this that I can't. Gritty and grady. I just can't really get through. So, yeah. Too Late for Love, on the other hand, is a nice little tune. Yeah,
that's good. There's a funny lyric in that. Just pick it up. But the scratching at her head.
No.
You know, most of the lyrics are about like, you know, getting laid and pulling girls and stuff like that. But there's a mention of, you know, they're going someplace and the lyric goes, she scratches at her head and the dandruff starts to fall, but it's too late. So it's kind of like this, you know, jokey lyric that you didn't really expect. You know, because the rest of the lyrics are pretty macho.
Yeah, why would you? Yeah, but that's an interesting to put it there. Maybe he's just paying
pick up on that until like
attention to every detail.
I don't know. I just thought it was as kind of a peculiarity.
It is weird.
Yeah. Die Hard, The Hunter. Last song on side one. I used to play this cassette all the time, dude, and flip it.
You just play side one, or would you just play it? Like, do you mean like the whole?
No, I would just like. I would take it out and flip it over and take it out and flip it over.
Die Hard the Hunter it's okay. It's interesting. It's got some different parts that are kind of cool that it takes you through. Again though, like really good at making like anthems. You know, it's almost like every song on here is an anthem. You know, so totally. They kind of do it in their own way. And sometimes it works for me and sometimes it doesn't. And I don't think Die Hard the Hunter is really one that does it for me on this.
See, the anthems are augmented by the background vocals for me. Right. And I think that's one thing that Mutt obviously did really, really well.
The Leppardettes.
The accentuation of, well, I think it was the dudes. Was it women? I don't know. I think it was the guys in the band.
It was Joe and Mutt and Rod, whoever else would sing backups. They just
probably Phil.
They called themselves the Leppardettes.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
I want to say like all of them sang, maybe except Steve Clark.
Yeah, it's possible.
But
I didn't catch all of them. So.
What Mutt did was he would like layer the tracks so that there was like 63 like track lines, right? And it was so big and bright. And then like you put that like Die Hard the Hunter, that's the chorus basically. And it's just like this, you know, it just comes out of the speakers at you. It's effective. Thomas Dolby plays on this. Do you know that?
Keyboardist, right?
Yeah. You know, She Blinded Me with Science. Do you know that song?
No.
The older folks who watch the show will know that.
Okay.
So he had a hit in the 80s called She Blinded Me with Science. And it was like this weird, funky, kind of bizarre song. But he was anything but a hard rock musician. He was like this quirky, he was a synthesizer guy. And he plays on this album all over it. He plays Die Hard the Hunter. He does this like really cool synth line that like if you listen closely, you can hear it. There's a bingo. Listen
bingo
closely.
dab.
But if you listen closely, you can hear these weird synth lines going on in the background that kind of like go counter to the guitar, which is really strange. But again, probably Mutt Lange, right?
I wouldn't be able to pick these out and like pinpoint them with you right here, but I can tell you when listening to this, there were some really cool sounds that like there were things that stood out to me. Obviously not like I shouldn't say stood out, but there was a lot happening and I found that really cool because it was almost like you couldn't lose your attention with it because there was always kind of something happening in the background or passing through the forward. Like it's just, they did a lot of really cool stuff with, I guess, the synthesizer and vocals as well. I found myself thinking throughout listening to this album. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Very busy, but not in a bad way. You know, it's very stimulus focused. There's just always something going on, you know, but not in a bad way. Not like there's too much. It's just, it's rich. There's a richness about it.
Undo, glido, glouten, globen. What is it? Undo, glib. How's it go? You do it. I want Brent to do it. That was why I was setting up here.
No, the last two are glout and globen. I don't know the first.
Yeah, me neither. COVID brain.
I don't even know.
That was a Mutt Lange thing, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't real language.
Right.
It was German based, but it was just kind of gibberish.
Yeah.
But the story goes that he was a guy who made you do a lot of takes, right? And he would say, do it again. And so he counted the band in because he liked them playing live off the floor, not just one guy playing a part. And he would count them in from the control room and he would say 1, 2, 3, 4. So he'd get tired of after all these takes saying 1, 2, 3, 4. So he would do these stupid things, right? Instead of saying that, he would, and the band would laugh and then but the band apparently liked that one so much that they said, we should put it at the beginning of Rock of Ages. And they did. That's him. That's his voice. You can hear there. Yeah.
I remember it from The Offspring. That's what I remember.
That's right. They sampled it.
That's right.
Yeah. So isn't that strange? Like, think about that. So he was just screwing around, right? Not even thinking. And it was like, and now it's this phenomenon.
Undo, Gleben, Glauten, Globen. Something like that.
No, it's,
come on. Get there.
Come on.
Well,
COVID makes you crusty, yeah.
They got rock. They got Rock of Ages for what from a hymnal as well. They looked down. They saw Rock of Ages was in it's like a hymnal.
How does that story go? He saw like this studio they were using. There was a children's choir in there before them, and one of them left their little hymnal behind. And he was flipping through it, and he saw Rock of Ages in there, and he said that would be a cool song. And he started writing lyrics in the studio. Yeah. Remember on AC/DC's Back in Black, we talked about backwards masking.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Like the backwards messages.
Yeah.
And how, like, it was like theorized that they were there and they probably weren't there, but somebody was like making it up. Mm-hmm. But it's still kind of cool to consider.
Yeah. On
Rock of Ages, there are real backwards messages.
Oh, wow.
And they happen during the guitar solo. And they say, you can hear them. If you listen to Rock of Ages during the guitar solo, you can hear someone talking very faintly in the background. And it's like, you can hear that. But it's a backwards message. And you know what it says? There's two of them.
Okay.
It says, fuck the Russians. And the other one says, Brezhnev's got herpes. He was the Russian leader at the time.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah. I have no idea why that's there.
This album still holds up.
Right?
Wild.
Isn't that weird?
That's hilarious. Yeah. They just decided to put it in. Friggin' kids, eh? Just kids. No respect. No respect for politics. Coming Under Fire is good too, though. Big fan of Coming Under Fire.
It is. Now we're getting into, though, the kind of fillers, right? We're getting close to the end of the record.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of these, eh?
I like Coming Under Fire. The next tune is a true number 9, I feel like.
Action, not words.
Do you agree?
This is where I kind of, no, I don't.
Do you like it? Really? Yeah, you like this?
I like the bottom few tunes on this album.
Really?
The bottom few tunes guy of Pyromania.
I feel like this is a true number 9.
I just feel like they really knock it out of the park with all their riffs, like with everything that they do and write and put together. I just feel like they really do a great job. Like that's why you could just like AC/DC is more party music. You could put that on for multiple people, whereas with this is maybe a little more of an audience needs to be into this. But I feel like I don't know. I think this is a lot, again, like everybody, you can sing along to all of these songs.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And Billy's Got a Gun's a great song.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Last two.
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know. It's not, I just feel like these last 3 songs are just kind of.
Oh, yeah?
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm into them.
Yeah. But the big ones like Photograph. Do you know who loves Photograph? Taylor Swift.
Oh, yes.
Taylor Swift actually did this with Def Leppard, I think, in 2008.
Oh, that's cool.
She invited either them or Elliot or somebody to do it. Yeah, she's a big fan.
Nice. Pyromania is I get the hype around it. I see it. I can definitely feel it. It's got some great anthems. Again, like I said, it's very much, I can see a lot of people really enjoying this. It just felt so 80s sounding for me, and it just was a little too, maybe not quite where my ears are at right now. So I'm gonna.
Where are your ears at right now?
Well, I guess Nazareth.
Really?
No, I liked Electric by The Cult. I did. I mean, it was okay. I mean, so, I mean, I think for all this album is, I don't think you can get any less than a 4 with this one, but it comes with a caveat
4?
that I'm probably not going to be putting too much of this album on anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I actually really like this record.
Yeah.
Yeah. I listen to it regularly.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah. But again, there's a nostalgic equity, right?
Yes.
There truly is.
Yeah.
I was 13 when I heard this. I was completely dialed in.
Yeah.
This was everything to me. So maybe that's, that makes up the gap. I don't know.
Like it's mentioned before, I listened to power metal, like really, ridiculous European power metal bands back when I was a young teenager that were just like, kind of reminded me of songs like these. And that's what at that time I was like, yeah, anthems and like, horses and swords. And it was really dumb, but I was
Valkyries and
like
wizards.
And so, but there was something about the music and the way they put it together that it just hit me in a way that was really cool. I mean, obviously it wasn't Pyromania that would go on to live forever as, one of the most successful albums of all time, but I get the feeling. That's why I can't, I know I'm going by feel on these things, and I wasn't like totally sold on the overall sound of the album, but I don't think you can give this album less than a 4 just based on its prowess. So I'll give it that. Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no way you can. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. 4 it is.
4.
I'll give it a 6 to make up your missing
That's
head.
Fine. So where are we thinking we go next?
Oh,
what's the follow-up
question?
It's going to be a Journey
the
album?
Follow-up to this, Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast.
Cool. I'm into it.
All right, we're doing it.
Iron Maiden,
Number of the Beast. I'm very excited to talk about this record. It's one of my favorites.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to go rest up, and I'm going to put Number of the Beast on while I hole up in my dungeon.
Put your mask back on. Safety first. There you go. You look like you're going to go and
what's that?
Into wood shop and make a shelf for your mom.
I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna get some home. I'm gonna get some home. What do you call it?
I don't know what you call it.
Home renovations. I'm gonna get some renovations done. Oh, I'm sick.
There you go. Good for you.
Okay.
Off you go.
Bye.
Cheers. Turn the thing off.